This is Sybert signing in to Kane's Wrath on the map Pipeline Fusion for Game 1 of this Best of 11 2v2 show match. Kicking it off in the north, our red team. This is Bart Jones. He's, of course, going Crane first because just like Pipeline Problems, you start with that blue Tiberium right next to your MCV. His teammate is the red Steel Talons. In the top right, this is Bike Rush Owns. And opposing Bart and Bike, well, down in the south, playing the purple, this is Rex, playing Nod. And on the left side of the map, also playing Nod, this is Space. This series has been sitting on my hard drive for almost a year now, and I have just been putting it off. I either had other tournaments to get to, or I just didn't feel like casting a 2v2 best of 11. Well, more like casting and editing a 2v2 best of 11. Prioritizing other things. And then I was gone for work for 3 weeks. And in that time, I made the terrible, terrible mistake of updating my GPU drivers. And it broke game capture. I use Shadowplay. It broke game capture only for Kane's Wrath. It didn't break it for anything else. Only for Kane's Wrath. So I got to spend the last hour of my life, hour 15, a little over an hour, fixing it. Turns out, just add the program under manage 3D settings in the NVIDIA control panel. Nothing actually to do with any of the suggested solutions on pretty much any article that talks about Shadowplay. Yep, that's what it was. I just had to essentially trick the app into recognizing Kane's Wrath. I have no idea why it's only Kane's Wrath. And this has happened before. It only has a problem with Kane's Wrath. Maybe also Tib Wars, but not Red Alert 3, not Generals, not Remaster, no other regular game. We've got ourselves GDI and Steel Talons versus the double Nod powerhouse combo of Rex and Space. This is R20, so we're going back in time just a little bit. We got all kinds of changes coming up for R21, R22, but we're going back in time for just a minute to R20, and it's good to see at least someone not playing a GDI faction. I mean, Bike Rush Owns playing Steel Talons, a little bit more limited, but still have behemoths. No sonic emitters, though. And actually, the Crane going to be taking a bit of damage. Orca Strike going to be coming in as well. And this combination of the Orcas and the Orca Strike will kill Rex's Crane. Now, the refinery is already up and running. The blue Tiberium field has already been harvested. Double War Factory, triple War Factory is already pumping away. So this really is not that big of a blow, but it is kind of an interesting strategy. Send 2 Orcas plus an Orca Strike, and you basically get a guaranteed kill on a Crane. Bike Buggy rocks up to Bike Rush's base, and he's going to be able to push it away with Pit Bulls. War Factory is now here to repair. A Harvester takes a big chunk of damage. Going to be Wolverine, actually, right out of the gate. No Titan, no additional Pit Bulls. It's going to be a Wolverine right out of the gate. And Harvester does survive for now. Second swing from the bikes comes in, spreads the damage across the Watchtower, Pit Bull, and the Harvester. So no Harvester deaths just yet. Rex committing a lot to this attack. Space might be coming in to join him as well, but Rex has lost almost all of his bikes. He still hasn't killed the Harvester. He's just been trading out forces. However, Bart Jones will lose a Harvester. One down. Second one might get popped as well. It goes down, and the bikes do escape. Rex not able to get a single Harvester kill. Meanwhile, Space manages to get 2 against Bart Jones. A couple of Titans now out on the field for Bike Rush Owns, but the Pit Bulls are still the front line armor and defense for the Steel Talons player. Beam Cannon's out on the map. Space, you might think he's playing Blackhand with all the infantry he's got, but he is just vanilla Nod. And Rex continuing with this triple War Factory spam. Bike, buggy, pure numbers is now switching it up into Scorpion tanks, but he's going up against railguns, up against Titans, up against Mammoths from our Steel Talons player. And Rex, on the other hand, sticking with those low-tech units. Might be going laser capacitors now that he's got Scorpion tanks coming in. Because he has so many bikes, he may also go Tib Core missiles, get those late-game upgrades for those early-game units. MCV is here, and it's maybe going to be an engineer, but it might just be rocket spam here onto the front line for Bike Rush owns. Maybe he was thinking engineer before the laser fence was down. Beam cannons continuing to burn through GDI forces for Bart Jones, and it's going to be a harvester now paying the price. The harvester gets zapped. Bart Jones not able to save that harvester. Bike Rush owns putting a lot of pressure onto Rex right here in the middle of the map. Bike Buggy is going to have to turn around, come home, and Space is also turning his forces to potentially push back Bike Rush and save Rex from the railgun assault of the Steel Talons player. Obelisk is here, Avatar as well. Stealth fields are helping to hide some of these units. Second stealth field as well, just to make sure there's extra stealth protection for these units as the rockets rock up and the beam cannons get in range. Bike Rush owns is going to retreat from the front line. Decoy army onto the front line, and it's actually going to push this MCV back. Going to get targeted down by the beam cannons. A decent amount of HP gone, but the beam cannons stop targeting and instead go for other softer targets. Shockwave artillery firing off. Won't catch very much. Cleans up a chunk of infantry. Meanwhile, in the backline, it's going to be Bike Buggy going for the kill on the tier 3. Bike Rush owns won't have a lot of high-tech units left after it gets knocked down by this Nod army. But Rex hasn't finished it off. Scorpion's trying to engage with these railgun Titans. We'll be able to knock down 2 Titans right there on the doorstep of the War Factory. The Harvester's hiding away, and Bike Rush owns pushes forward into the middle of the map, but he gets backstabbed here at his home. Pitbull's going to be committing in toward the defense, but they're coming in one at a time, getting knocked down one at a time. Still no laser capacitors, but we at least have dozer blades for these Scorpions. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, it's going to be the Redemption coming in, and for now, the Mar will escape. It's going to be watchtowers onto the front line to help thin out those infantry hordes from Space, who has held his own against Bart Jones, and he's also helped out Rex here and there. Rex finding some damage with the backstab, and Bike Rush owns trying to find footing underneath him in the middle of the map. He's turned his army around to defend his main, and now he's sending it back out to the front. Vertigo bombers coming in, maybe a successful bombing run or two, but the Juggernaut numbers are here. There's a couple of behemoths here for Bike Rush owns as well. Bike Rush owns has a pretty massive army, but it's spread out. It's slowly walking its way towards Space, and Space is going to need some massive defense. He's got beam cannons, but he has got so much firepower bearing down upon him. The GDI forces are here to stay. They are not just looking to visit, they're buying real estate, and they are going to shove a lot of artillery down the throat of this Nod player. Rex stomps over with 2, 4, 6, 7 avatars to help hold the line. The beam cannons behind that being the artillery answer. It's not Spectres, but it is at least something. Vertigo's coming in. They will find a couple of Juggernauts, I assume, going for the clustered Juggernauts. Gets 2, gets 3, and a 4th Behemoth will go down as well. The Behemoth falling to the splash damage there, and a couple of Scorpion tanks sneaking into the back line of Bart Jones. He's not able to defend and attack at the same time. Engineers rushing into those Juggernauts. It's going to be a combo fight from both sides as Rex joins Space. Bike Rush joins Bart Jones in this dual assault and defense of GDI and Nod. More engineers out onto the front line. Those Vertigos may have knocked down a couple of artillery targets, but they haven't stopped the onslaught. The engineers recapturing everything, bringing everything back online. Redeemer steps out onto the field somewhere out here, and actually, this MCV might just be kind of dead in the water. Bike Rush owns has nothing left to defend, only a couple of watchtowers, but at least they have shut down Space's front line. No more assault from Space. Harvesters getting targeted. One Harvester goes down. Second Harvester will actually be able to be able to refine that just fine. That harvester didn't take any damage. The refinery didn't actually die, and the MCV actually has been saved. Now the reverse Uno card gets displayed, and Rex is going to be losing his MCV. He can't run away from here. He did not fully commit into the attack, and Shockwave Artillery going to be firing off. Where will it catch? Perhaps some units one place or another. Vertigo Bombers coming in for another pass, cleaning up a couple of Titans, but it's not going to be enough. Bike Buggy coming in finally with those Tib core upgrades. We'll be able to smash a couple of Harvesters, and Bike Rush owns his economy isn't my biggest concern at this point in the game. Can you stop these Titans? Can you stop this army? Can you stop Bike Rush from tearing apart your base? Militant Squad's getting a couple of shots in here, and the Vertigo Bombers desperately trying to refuel. As soon as these Titans get in range of that airfield, they are going to be able to absolutely demolish it. Airfields do not last long in the face of all of this GDI firepower. Vertigo Bombers find the sweet spot, only knock down one of the Titans, the others survive. The tier 3 goes down, and everything collapses for our Nod team in about 1 minute. The Bike Buggy is still searching for some targets, and yeah, limiting Bike Rush's economy is nice, but he's already got 121k total resources gathered. He is in the lead for all 4 players in this game. MCV down, tier 3 is down. Rex is hobbling along in this game. He's got a Redeemer, and he might have an insurance policy somewhere out on the map, but does he have enough to actually bind the counterattack? It's going to be the Redeemers for the win, but they are so undefended. They are so unhelped by anything. One Redeemer down, and the second Redeemer might actually get the MCV from long ago. Perhaps an engineer will rush out to try and save it. The MCV getting targeted down, but no, he's going to go for the Avatar instead. Will crush the Avatar that Bike Rush stole, and the Juggernauts might be the next target of these Bike Buggy killers who come back in hunting for more and more damage. The MCV still standing strong, but not for long. It has so little health, and it's still in the game. It's going to be mass pit bulls rolling in for Bart Jones to try and defend this location. Too little, too late, as the Redeemer actually survives the onslaught, and now Bart Jones just needs to finish off this one heavy target. And that's pretty much it for the army of the Nod players. Two Redeemers getting knocked down. A couple of Pitbulls will trade out their lives for it. And 4 Pitbulls, that's actually a lot. That was a massive shot from those Juggernauts. Absolutely perfect shooting there from those guys. As the Redeemer falls, so do the hopes of Space and Rex. Space taps out, hands everything over to Rex, and Bart Jones actually taps out, so I guess we have ourselves a 1v1. A couple of Avatars, a couple of bikes, and a couple of buggies managed to sneak past the defenses on the old Bart Jones side of the map, but that will do it. Game number 1 comes crashing down, and I have to assume Bike Rush Owns wins that one. It'll send us into game number 2. In game 2, will send us to Forgotten Forest for the switch-up. Playing Nod still. This is Rex. Switching it up to Blackhand. Give it up for Space. And on the other side of the map, abandoning his Steel Talons ways, this is Bike Rush Owns playing the Marked of Kane. And that means still playing GDI, Old Faithful, it's Bart Jones. So 2 remain the same, and 2 have switched it up. Little Marked of Kane action, little Black Hand action, and of course that means we've got all 3 Nod factions, and then 1 vanilla GDI player. And I mean, hey, you win a game, and then you go for Marked of Kane. It's not a bad choice. You still have the opportunity to get Juggernauts and Sonic Emitters, a Marv, Mammoth Tanks if you want them. Now you've got those Railgun options, Firehawks even, Hammerheads. And then all of the great EMP options of a Marked of Kane player. You have that fantastic hard-hitting GDI backbone. And we'll see if this sneaky double Black Hand Reckoner is going to be able to find any damage. This is a bit of a flame rush, but a very non-committal flame rush. Something that GDI can deal with quite well. We'll see how Bike Rush is able to handle it. I do not believe he has spotted this. It may have been spotted by an earlier scout that got cleaned up before I actually clicked over to the left side of the map, but this may actually also... This is completely unspotted. He went for a harvester, 3 harvesters. Well, actually 2 harvesters right out of the gate, and then 2 from the refineries. That's a dead war factory. That's a dead refinery. Dead power plant as well. Bike Rush owns taking some pretty heavy damage right here at the start of the game. He won't lose any harvesters, but he will lose 2 critical structures. EMP lands, doesn't really matter. Oh, okay, the Tib silo does block off that power plant. A little bit more damage will come out onto the power plant. Second Tib silo block, Bike Rush owns is at least going to be able to do that by almost until the end of time, but no. The third wave of attacks does manage to kill off that power plant. And Bike Rush Jones is now in an extremely awkward position. Bart Jones is looking solid, and Bike Rush Jones is going to pivot into a double War Factory follow-up. And of course, behind this, he has an extremely thin economy. His harvester number is just fine. No problems there. It's purely the refinery count that is weak. So while he will have a constant flow of Tiberium, it is only at a, well, never mind. It is only at a rate of 1 harvester at a time. And there's the MCV cell. It does get spotted by Rex. He drops the beacon basically immediately. Bike's now going to be crossing the map, and there is an expansion in the south. So Rex does have some refineries down there. If he loses harvesters up here, it's not necessarily the end of the world. Harvester's taking a good amount of damage. Nice juking by Rex. It's not perfect because Bike has bikes on both sides of the War Factory. Second harvester will be going down here. There's not enough firepower from Space and Rex to save that second harvester, but now they finally have mustered enough firepower to hold off the future attacks. Sending bikes in 1 at a time is not necessarily going to win you the day, but killing 2 harvesters in the counterattack is a good way to try and get yourself back in the game. Bike Rush Jones, of course, does still have a very powerful setup here. It's just not a particularly fast form of production. He's going to be constantly drawing a 0 on that bank account, and eventually he will have to rebuild that MCV. The question is merely how many kills can he get in the interim? Can he and Bart Jones slow down their opponents to make up for the fact that Bike Rush Jones' economy is not growing? Bart Jones, on the other hand, he is skyrocketing, plus 12k per minute, 40k total resources gathered. He's here with a bunch of pit bulls, a couple of APCs mining up the front of this War Factory, trying to shut it down, and Bike Rush Jones is still looking for blood in the north, hoping to find a bit more damage against Rex and Space up there at their spawning location. And these pit bulls just bullying these Nod players. There's so many pit bulls that they just instantly kill anything that pops out of that War Factory. Another harvester goes down. The bike's reforming. Okay, it looks like the bike's all exploding in the north. Not really reforming the front line because they are dead as another harvester takes some more damage. Another couple of Scorpion tanks get eliminated. Predator tanks crossing the map, as well as Bart Jones brings his MCV. It's the kitchen sink getting thrown at these Nod players in the south. It is the full-on assault of an early game GDI. We are less than 6 minutes into this game, but the base push is upon us, whether you like it or not. And the counterattack will find 1 harvester. Will he get the kill, though, as Bart Jones continues to put on pressure in the south? The harvester low on health, but surviving for the moment. Will take another volley as it does get eliminated. This War Factory will face a similar fate. Predator tanks and pit bulls are here to knock down this expansion, and all of the harvesters have been sent back up to the north. Rex and Space are going to try and exist off of that 1 base. Space taps out. It is all up to Rex from here on out. It is purple for the glory of game number 2, and Rex has a decent number of bikes, but he is getting crushed in the south. There is no stopping Bart Jones, and there is nothing to keep him from just expanding in the south, taking more bases, taking more space, and eliminating Rex in basically a full 360-degree surround, and that will be the tap out. As space crumbles, so does our team on the left side in game number 2. And for game number 3, we perhaps are losing all pretense of a normal match here on Desert Rampage, which some people call, say is Red Zone Rampage, but worse. I don't know. I think it might be Red Zone Rampage, but better. You do start with that blue Tiberium, and if you're in the north, you also start with a double Black Hand Bike Rush Bart Jones team. And if you're in the south, well, things aren't that different. Playing the Marked of Kane, it's going to be Rex, and playing the pink Black Hand, this is Space. So yeah, it is all Nod. It is blue Tiberium, double green field that is extremely close as well. This is a map with money, but with a bit more space. We'll see if it actually has more space, but there's a lot more room to negotiate on this map than on Red Zone Rampage. And there are lots of people who, you know, do love them some Red Zone Rampage. At this point in Kane's Wrath history, because Tournament Rift, there we go. Tournament Rift has sort of fallen off the 1v1 pool. Red Zone Rampage is almost, I would say without a doubt, but almost certainly the most played map of all time in Kane's Wrath. There are so many Red Zone Rampage games played every single day. Players absolutely love that map. It has been a classic for a reason. You know, I'm not necessarily a big fan of it for competitive matches, but people love it, and good for them. It's going to be an aggressive game here with Bart Jones crashing into space down here in the south. He is not leaving any space for this player to build up and do anything. They're looking for a quick 3-0 as Rex on the other side is taking things a little bit more slowly, but so is Bike Rush. He's sending his bikes down now as space gets collapsed on by Bart Jones. He's forced to sell his MCV. Can he make it work with one harvester, one refinery, one barracks, one war factory, and one laser turret? For the current moment, the answer is yes. A couple of Confessor Cabals right as Bike Rush's bikes swarm upon the base of Rex. He's got his own units here to try and defend. EMP catches a buggy, not much more than that, as the harvesters are taking damage, and you got to fight fire with EMPs because one harvester goes down, but the bikes do pay the price. The EMP slows down some of these forces, but only for a moment, as they are back on the move, thinned out, but still deadly and dangerous as Bike Rush owns finds another harvester kill. Rex, feeling his economy being throttled, is going to need to strike back, otherwise he is going to be crushed by the dual forces of Bike Rush and Bart Jones. The double B from the north will become too strong. Now the only real advantage here is that Bart Jones isn't growing. So Bart Jones obviously has decent economy because he started on the blue, but he is not growing. And Rex and Bike Rush owns, they are growing. They've still got those production facilities so that they can keep things cranking. Even if you sell off your MCV, you still got that crane as a backup. And Bike Rush owns wins that skirmish. Forces re-emerging from space. Of course, he did still have double war factory. He's got the blue Tiberium as well. Sells off his barracks, sells off his laser turret, gets a couple of more dollars into the bank so that he can maybe pump out an MCV and some forces at the same time. For now, it's going to be Scorpion tanks getting produced 2 at a time as Rex pulls together the defense. Pure bike buggy spam, it seems, from the right side of the map. And Bart Jones re-engaging with his own bike numbers, going to be bolstering the attack from the north. The defense will be solid now from space. He's got rocket squads. He's got scorpion tanks. He has enough to hold the line for the moment. There's no double teaming just yet. Bart Jones looked like he was going to jump on Rex with the help of Bike Rush Owns, but Space kind of caught him off guard. And now let's see, maybe with Defender's advantage, Space can come out ahead in this fight. It's Scorpion Tank versus Scorpion Tank. Space has the numbers on the Scorpion Tanks, but he doesn't have the bikes to help out. However, Rex is going to be fighting his own battle way out there on the right side of the map. It's Scorp v Scorp. The bikes are helping out, but the superior Scorp numbers are the winner. The reinforcements get caught by those rockets on the left side as well. And back home, it's just a Confessor Cabal squad doing a little bit of damage. What can we do in the face of all this destruction? That one Confessor Cabal squad is just like, you know, throwing snowballs at this war factory. There's 8,000 bikes swarming the map. There's rockets and cannon fire going everywhere. And that one Confessor Cabal squad is like, I'm helping. I'll get up. But no, the war rages on. Those rockets catching the reinforcements, finding the damage, and Space is back in this. He's not free and clear just yet, but Bike is getting caught behind enemy lines. He's split his forces into two, and we'll see if Rex is able to defend. It's been a while since a Harvester has gone down on either side of the map, but Space is muscling on top of Bart's front door. He is muscling in the front door, and he has got the reinforcements to come across the map. He's got way too many Scorpion tanks for Bart Jones, and this is where that aggressive play right from the beginning never landed. Bart Jones got the damage done early, but he didn't grow out of it. And so the second wave didn't land. The third wave didn't land. And now Bart Jones is finding himself a little bit sold short on that defense. He doesn't have a bike rush to come and help him out. He doesn't have a bike rush to throw a couple of bikes towards him because Rex is keeping Bike Rush busy, and Bike Rush hasn't been able to cut down Rex. That's a bit of a fire sale. 2 power plants going down, and the first point on the board might be coming in for the team in the south. A Harvester goes down, and it's little to no income for Bart Jones. He was looking fine before, but he's not looking good now as he leaves the game, and Bike Rush Owns now has control of 2 bases, but it's not even fair to call it 2 bases. It is a lot of war factories, though. He does have 4 war factories, and perhaps not the economy to keep them all running. The bikes come in for another pass. They do pick up 1 more Harvester kill. Not a lot of weakened Harvesters left over, but that's some nice splash damage as Bike Rush Owns has been defeated. Rex and Space put their first point on the board and turn this best of 11 from a slaughter to a series. Game 4 will take us to Unsound Investment, a classic original 4-player map. I was going to say 2v2, but this, I mean, look at the layout. This is not really a 2v2 map. It is one of the more 2v2-ish maps, but it is also designed to work for FFAs so that you can play it in a 2v2 fashion or an FFA fashion, and it kind of works for both. Whereas the more like intentionally designed team maps really don't work for FFAs. You spawn so incredibly close to your opponents. It is an absolute mad dash to kill off one, and then, you know, it becomes a 1v1 from that point forward. But we've got Rex and Space on the south side playing Marked of Kane and Zocom. Always nice to see a little bit of Zocom representation here. Meanwhile, on the north side, Bart Jones, he believes in the power of GDI. It's been winning him games, and he's deciding to go back to it. Meanwhile, Bike Rush Owns sticking with Black Hand. He's been winning with Black Hand since, I don't know, 2009 or something. So I don't know when he started playing Kane's Wrath. Maybe right at the beginning, maybe he found it a couple of years in, but he's been winning with Black Hand from the beginning. So it's old faithful for Bike Rush Owns to go back to Black Hand and to live in that space, to also get both of the tib spikes there in the middle. And the poker or the coin flip tib spikes, no one has claimed them yet. They're going to leave them unclaimed for the current moment, and someone will probably try and grab them in the middle of the game. So far, things looking pretty normal. After an extremely aggressive game number 3, our game number 4 is looking a little bit more standard, a little bit more macro-oriented from everybody. No double War Factory MCV cells just yet. I guess it could still happen, but it seems unlikely. Bike Rush Owns goes for the expansion. Rex goes for the expansion. And hey, Space and Bart Jones also going for the expansion. We're back to a little bit more of a normal pace of the game here on Unsound Investment. Pitbulls trading a couple of shots. GDI and Zocom fighting for dominance of the vanilla faction versus the sub faction. And well, I mean, in that case, Zocom got the win with the help of a watchtower. Confessor Cabal squad comes in for the scout. Couple of bikes. Gonna be able to poke and prod. Shouldn't be able to get any real damage done against that Harvester, considering that there is the War Factory so incredibly close. Does call the Harvester off the line, though, so the Harvester has to juke around the buildings, wasting time, not harvesting, not refining Tiberium, nothing like that. Blue Tiberium was stolen there by Rex, and that was a bit of a... I can't believe he actually got that off, because those bikes came from that direction, so they did not actually realize that Blue Tiberium Harvester was hanging out there from Rex. Otherwise, they would have gone for the kill. One Harvester does actually get eliminated there. Too many targets, and it's too many bikes. That's a sell-off of an operations center right from the beginning. 2 Harvesters down, and Rex sells his ops center. That is devastating. Not a good way to open on your natural expansion. And now this rocket squad gets a couple of more shots. Eventually, these Tib troopers, and they get hit by the confusion, the hallucinogenic grenades. They will actually do a bit of damage to some friendly units, a bit of friendly fire. As Space turns his guns to the north, sends his pitbulls over to the base of Bike Rush Owns. We'll see if he's able to get anything done. For the current moment, it looks like the answer is no. Pitbulls coming from behind. Bart Jones is here to defend his buddy and say, hey, don't mess with my friend. Bike is my teammate, and I'll defend him to the end. Command post is up. No AP ammo just yet. Hasn't been started. Hopefully Barty Boy does remember to start that. Decoy army going to be absorbing a couple of shots there, and this is a lot of Harvesters running away. That's 4 Harvesters, 5 in the line of fire. Can they actually escape? Because Bike Rush Owns is relentless. 2 of them low on health. 2 go down, 2 remain from the original evacuation from that natural expansion. Bike Rush Owns and Bart Jones, the pit bull bike combo, finds the damage against Rex, slaughters the economy. This is not 2-1 scoreline. They want to make it 3-1 for the scoreline. They do not want this to be a close series, and they do not want Rex to have a fighting chance. His economy has been shattered. He has been shredded and diced, and 2 Harvesters remain. I think that is perhaps the only, well, okay, 1 Harvester is about to remain, and it's the one that transferred back to the natural expansion. Oh, Space! Space, what? Finds a couple of random Predator tanks to send into the base of Bart Jones. A couple of Harvesters low on health, and that's a load and a half of Tiberium between the 2 of them that was just denied to Bart Jones. It's going to be mass pitbull killing the MCV, so Bart Jones still has some strength out on the map. It is pitbull spam v pitbull spam, but Bart Jones has the better numbers. He's got those mortars to knock down those buildings as well, and that's the GG, as I think we make it a 3-1. Space and Rex not looking good here in this series. An appropriate map to turn to, because Bike and Bart were cold as ice in that last game. An absolutely brutal execution of Rex's economy And Space, well, he tried to strike back, but he wasn't able to find much of anything. On the purple side of the map, it is going to be GDI and Nod. A somewhat classic combo. And, well, on the red side of the map, it's in some sense more classic because it's double GDI. Yeah, it's just double GDI on the south side of the map. Bike Rush and Bart, they, well, they're going for a classic powerhouse late game combo. Bart Jones is good with GDI. Bike is good with everything. Space, you know, he's pretty solid with GDI. Rex, we'll see. He's playing Nod. I would like to see him, you know, run over to the Scrin factions at some point. Although the fact that we haven't seen any Scrin factions does kind of make me wonder if maybe one of the rules of this show match was no Scrin factions. But I don't remember seeing that in the post. It just said best of 11 and gave the starting map. So I don't think there's a rule against Scrin. So I would like to see Rex go for the Scrin in one of these games. He does tend to be better with Scrin than the other factions. He plays more Scrin games than I've seen him play of the other factions, but, you know, we'll see. Meanwhile, Space, you know, he's fine with GDI. Just fine. I don't know. I got nothing to say about Space's GDI. It's solid. Expansions coming up. Bike and Bart, I suspect, are wanting to play the long game. We'll see if that is their goal. Bike going for the classic rocket APC combo. One of those combinations that is very popular. Sometimes doesn't do anything, but sometimes does quite a lot. Gives you, you know, perhaps just enough firepower to contest any early aggression. Gives you just enough firepower to greed check your opponent. And Bike Rush Owens is probably better than most players at getting damage with the mine drops. I think he just does more mine drops than most other players, so sort of by extension, he gets more damage because I guess, you know, you land more shot, you hit more shots if you take more shots, at least in some case. Bart Jones does lose one APC right at the start there. A bit unfortunate for him, but I love the annoying foxholes that both Bike and Bart have deployed on their opponent's expansions. Gives you that perfect scouting information, gives you a little bit of a way to annoy your opponent as well. And, you know, Space, he's going to find himself out GDI'd going 1 against 2 in the Pitbull spam, if that is indeed what this match turns into. It's going to be twice as many War Factories pumping Pitbulls from the right side of the map. We'll see if the Bike Buggy spam from Rex can help make up for the difference. Rex spots this little combo of units. 4 Pitbulls, 2 APCs from Bike Rush. A very modest attack group at this point, but could be some follow-up. Ooh, he's called in the reinforcements. So this suddenly gets a lot more deadly when you've got the Bloodhounds landing and reinforcements streaming across the map. The airfield has been spotted as well. So Bart Jones could be going for Orcas, could be going for Hammerheads, but either way, it has been spotted as a possibility by Space. So he does know that this is coming. Scan comes in. This is now a lot of pit bulls here on the front line. This is no longer a couple of pit bulls and a couple of APCs. This is a pretty serious attack group showing up to Rex's front door. This is exactly what happened in that last game. Rex expands, you put the pressure on the expansion, you knock down the harvesters, and you get the win that way. A little bit of damage on these Orcas, a little bit of damage on that airfield, as it's going to be reinforcements getting called in by Space, going to be helping Rex to defend, and Bike Rush Owens will lose a couple of units on exit. The grouping of the bikes allowing him to burst down those last units that are kind of trailing behind the main army. Bike Rush Owens will now turn back around and cross the map again. ping pong going on in the south. And meanwhile, it looks like Space has backed off. Nope, he's sending 4 or 5 Predator tanks forward. Everything else is backed off, but these 5 Predator tanks, they are going deep into enemy territory. The bikes once again going to group together to be able to pop a couple of these APCs. They've got AP ammo, but they're also losing their lives as Bike Rush Owns loses APC after APC. No mine drops deployed, no cheeky, sneaky mines to, you know, slow down your opponent. Nope, just dead APCs one after the other. Sonic emitters are now up. Marv is on the way, and harvesters will be under threat, but that Sonic emitter is a powerful deterrent for Bike Rush Owns to be able to keep his harvesters safe. MCV on the move. The multi-MCV life is a good one. Marv plus Juggernauts plus Sonic Emitter is a classic GDI combo, and it is a powerhouse combination for a reason. Reclamator Hub going to take a bit of damage here. It's actually going to get burst down. It's going to be a bit of a race between these bikes and this Reclamator Hub as to who actually gets the end of the line first, and it's going to be the bikes. They get the kill on the Reclamator. They reset that Marv timing, rebuild the Reclamator Hub, and go for the Marv as well. Space returning back home. He's got the Firehawks. He's got the bombing runs. He's looking to shut down his opponent's buildings. I think he knocked down the tier 3. Yeah, because the Reclamator Hub is here, but I don't see the tier 3. How many MCVs does this guy need? Apparently 3 of them, as he's going to be losing a refinery. Where'd that missile go? Oh, it was down here in the south. 2 harvesters, it looked like, as well, going down. Rex finding some real value with that Mammoth tanks, railguns upgraded already. And, well, that Reclamator Hub is not long for this world. The tier 3 got knocked down, and now the Reclamator Hub is the next to follow. The Firehawks of Space finding some serious damage here in game number 5. Rex and Space not just giving up. I love to see Vertigos as well mixed in here to knock down Juggernauts, knock down any heavy GDI targets on the opposite side of the map. And, well, the Pitbulls and the APCs may actually end up getting a kill here. I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. That was 2 Vertigos who gave their lives for close to nothing. Very close to nothing there. But Bike Rush Owns finally has his Marv out on the map. He's got a couple of Zone Raiders ready to jump. Jump in? Couple of Zone Raiders? Jump in? Any Zone Raiders want to jump in? No, I guess not. Bike Rush and Bart Jones both falling behind in the economy graph, and for one of the rare times in this series, we do have Rex and Space leading the economy graph by a decent margin. Space absolutely climbing ahead of everyone else. Rex and Bart Jones kind of staying neck and neck, and Bike Rush Owns is in last place for total resources gathered. A bit unusual to see Bike Rush Owns in that position. Raider buggies now have EMP coils, so they can shut down that Marv. They can lock down those high-value targets from the GDI players. And, well, as many times as Space may try to deny, oh, nicely done by Bart Jones, packs up his MCV and saves it, but that is a huge Vertigo bombing run, sniping 3 Juggernauts, but the Marv will finish. Assembly has been completed, and that Marv is now out on the field. Shockwave artillery is about to fire off. The EMP will lock down the MCV, lock down the Marv, lock down the Juggernauts, and the return fire on the other side just catches the Marv. It's going to be Zone Troopers called in from behind, sniping Juggernaut after Juggernaut as the Mammoth tanks descend, and Space finds a killer angle here onto Bart Jones, onto the army, and he will wipe Bart Jones's front line off the map. His Marv closes in, his Mammoths can't be stopped, and his Juggernauts are falling behind. It will be on Bike Rush's shoulders, upon which Team Red Orange will succeed. If Bike can knock down Rex, then at least it turns it into a 1v1 and not a 1v2. The Firehawks are returning home, but you need more than just anti-air to stop this army coming in from space. Juggernauts are here. EMP will lock down the Marvin. That is so many Awakened that have spawned into the front line as this Marv becomes a paperweight time and time again. The EMPs have landed. The Spectres find their shots as well, and Bike Rush owns his front line has been slowed to a crawl, but he might still be crawling forward. He's at least got some momentum still on his side, and Bart Jones just getting clobbered. It was an immediate annihilation there by Bart Jones. He just got slapped by space. That was not a fair fight. That was absolute perfect execution. It was like a 1, 2, 3, 4 punch combo coming in from space to knock Bart Jones out of it. And then Bike Rush owns. I think he maybe still had some momentum against Rex, but not nearly enough to offset Bart Jones being clobbered, and that will do it. The scoreline gets a little bit closer as we head onto a new map for me, Disdain. And we have another little switch up here of the factions. Nothing too strange. Rex goes to the Mark of Kane, and Space sticks it out with GDI. Meanwhile, on the south side of the map, Bart Jones stays with GDI. And, well, Bike switches it back up to Black Hand. Not a big surprise. Nothing too unorthodox. But I feel like the minimap, I feel like they did something wrong when they exported it. It looks like, I don't know, too detailed is the best way that I can describe it. It's like normally the minimap is sort of has things simplified out. There's I don't know, there's too much variation or something. I feel like there's something wrong with this minimap. And it just, I don't know, it looks too detailed. But it shouldn't affect the gameplay because Disdain kind of has a little swirl going on to it. It's almost like it's a spiral map with the way your main and your natural are laid out. Unfortunately, we all do it sometimes, and Rex is doing it here today. One Tib Spike. This almost, in a lot of ways, this feels like an original map from Kane's Wrath because it kind of has the 4-player setup that is 2v2, but it's also FFA reasonable. You know, it can work for both. You got lots of space. You can spawn in almost any orientation. It can be north-south. It can be east versus west. It doesn't really matter. I guess corners would be a little bit difficult and awkward, but even then, you've got a decent amount of space. You can cross through the middle of the map relatively safely. But this engineer, he can also cross through everything safely because he's just hanging out. He's the only one who hasn't died by entering a Tib Spike. A permanent residence inside of that Tib Spike is what all the other engineers have done with their lives. So Rex does, you know, he's missing out on that little bit of income. Not a huge deal at this point. We'll see how long this game goes on, how long that engineer is forgotten. Some of these games have been pretty short and explosive, so in that case, missing out on that Tib Spike income may not matter all that much. Bike Rush Owns goes back to Black Hand. Would love to see some Purifying Flame from one of our Black Hand players, but it's mostly been Bike Buggy, regardless of the faction choice. So Rex, he's playing Mark of Kane, he goes Bike Buggy, and Bike is playing Black Hand, he goes Bike Buggy. And it's just very, I guess, agreeable for everyone to play with those same units. EMP does come in, locks down the Harvester, locks down the War Factory, Refinery, you know, not as big of a deal, but getting that War Factory shut down, slowing the production of Bike Rush Owns. It's nice to do it once, but if you do it 2, 3, 4 times, it really does add up. It becomes quite killer to have your War Factory shut down for that long. Harvester does go down. Bike Rush owns, not normally one to let a Harvester just die out in the open, but in this case he does. Rex gets the better of Bike and finds the kill on the natural expansion Harvester. It is double War Factory from Rex. No Harvester, no refinery on the natural expansion for now. Bart Jones gets that AP ammo started quite quickly as he now has his command post up. Space, on the other hand, going for the standard expansion as well. The only one who's not is Rex, and he might be, okay, yeah, he's dropping it right now. So it is just a bit of a delayed expansion. It's not an MCV cell, double War Factory, triple War Factory nonsense, nothing like that. Power plant does get deployed. No EMP landing just yet. That's a lot of pit bulls, though, and they do get caught. 3 of them at least, as Space comes in to help defend Rex and push back this combination force from Bike and Bart. Bike's swinging around to the right side of this little hilltop, and they'll find a Harvester maybe. They're pretty deep into the base, pretty undefended, as these Harvesters are 4 juicy targets, but that's a lot of low health Bikes. 4 or 5 of them could be eliminated extremely quickly as 1 Harvester goes down, and the Bikes get cleaned up. A couple of extra shots there to kill them off, and the Engineer never did grab that spike, and now Rex realizes his mistake. But it is, in some sense, an eternal one, because there's no coming back from the grave for that Engineer. No redemption as an Awakened, and that's a dead MCV here on the front line. The Sonic Emitter may get the Predator tanks, but the Orcas will get that MCV, and that is a lot of damage done right here at the beginning of the game. Bart Jones has his Reclamator hub, but he also has a collapsing front line as Bike Rush owns is looking to kill off Rex. Once again, the pressure at the natural expansion always feels like it's just too much for Rex to handle. The EMP locks down 3 tanks. He's going to need a couple more of those to get himself out of this situation. The Sonic Emitter from Space finds an amazing shot to blast a Bike and blast a Scorpion, as finally the reinforcements push off to somewhere else, leaving the natural expansion safe for now, but not the main, where 2 more Harvesters get broken down and sent to the grave. A 3rd will join them as Bike Rush's onslaught doesn't seem to stop. Reinforcing Bikes crossing the map, and the Scorpion tank numbers are okay from Rex, but he just cannot quickly eliminate these forces. It's going to be the Orcas coming in from Space to help thin out the herd, and that's going to be a 4-2 map scoreline for Bike and Bart. Sub 7 minutes. They get the win with the aggression. And that sends us to what now feels like a classic 2v2 map. We have seen so many good games on Wasteland Dam, and many of them featuring many of the players in this game. We, of course, have Rex sticking with Marked of Kane, and Space goes with GDI. His Firehawk bombing runs have been impressive. Bike and Bart, they're feeling that late game macro, or maybe they're feeling the 1-2 punch of the mass Pitbull spam. Either way, it's going to be GDI until the day they die. On this map, at least. Who knows, next game they could switch it up. Their map score is getting dangerously close to a match point scenario. One more win puts them in the danger zone. Well, I guess the victory zone? The end zone? I don't know. They put them in the, in the good spot of just needing that one final win. Rex in Space getting a couple of points on the board, putting up a good fight in some of these other matches, but not finding the wins that they need. Felt like a couple of those games, they were in an okay spot, and then just something keeps happening. Usually it's like Bike Rush keeps sending units across the map and getting more Harvester kills, and then it's like, okay, well, now things are really, really bad. The classic. I think it was Drive who lost his MCV extremely early on in the game on this hill. This is a very dangerous hill to walk your MCV down if you don't have eyes on the bottom. And you can absolutely, by a Marked of Kane member, you can absolutely get EMP'd on this hill and then killed. And I think it was Drive who had that happen to him. And he just went for the expansion, was essentially face-checking with his MCV, and just had no scouts at the bottom and paid the price for it. Paid a heavy, heavy price for it. But other than that, things are looking fairly standard. We'll see if Rex's natural expansion ends up being a problem. Space does have the low ground expansion, and Space and Bike Rush owns. I feel like this is where a lot of the fights start out in the early and mid game. Is a lot of the fighting happens on this low ground space between the bases. You know, when you're looking for that goose. And then late game, I feel like the fights are more likely to happen, you know, over here, through the middle, all across the map. But in the early and mid game, we more have seen them down here, so it's more about Space and Bike Rush, and maybe now Rex's expansion will be left alone. But as I say that, APC Pitbull crosses the map. Everyone loves a couple of rockets inside of their APCs, and they're going to be able to find some decent damage against Rex. One bike goes down. A Harvester has taken a lot of damage, and there's no War Factory here on the front line to help heal and repair these Harvesters. But the damage is split across a couple of targets, so they're actually both surviving for now. EMP lands, and that Harvester at least was able to refine all of the Tiberium. APC does deploy the mines just in time, and that Harvester survives, albeit barely. But yeah, that misfiring there, or mismanagement of targets by Bart Jones, means that Rex got the full load of Tiberium refined out of one of the Harvesters, and then this other Harvester, which was also now full on Tiberium, survived and is able to unload that Tiberium. Where in another universe, Bart Jones gets the kill on the Harvester that was refining earlier, and Rex is just missing out on that income. And then the other Harvester still has to do the dance, gets chased away, and it's just not looking as good for Rex. It's looking slightly better for Rex, and Bike Rush Owns shows up with 4 Orcas, but only 2 of them actually make it to his enemy's base. They do scout the airfield. They do scout the base of Space. They see everything that's going on. As Rex shows up, so does Bart Jones. His Pitbull is going to be defending against those bikes as the Preds go against the Preds and the APCs of Bike Rush Owns, and we're clearing mines the manual way, driving directly over top of them, hunting those Harvesters, and not finding the damage to kill them off as that second MCV walks down the hill in the face of these Predator tanks and just doesn't care. The bikes can get the kill. They can get the damage on the MCV as well. They're going to do a bit of damage to that MCV, but the Pitbulls are still here in good numbers, and Bart Jones is here to defend Bike once again. Rex, right on the edge of the range of that sonic emitter blast, will find himself with 1 dead bike. Killed almost by chance more than anything else, as that sonic emitter was just perfectly positioned to accidentally get that kill. 3 Pitbulls going down as into the middle of the map goes Bart Jones, and perhaps he regrets it, but he gets a couple of kills on the back end as Bike still has Pitbulls to worry about, and that Harvester ended up going down. I think the MCV, yeah, the MCV didn't get sold off. He's still pushing with it. I thought he had kind of turned it around, but no, he sent it forward into the front line, into the Obelisk and the Sonic Emitter, into the Juggernauts, and well, his own Sonic Emitter is now on the front line doing that damage, but Rex comes in once again from the side. His bikes will find a target eventually. Maybe they'll kill off this Juggernaut if they ever decide to get around to it. Maybe tomorrow, as Bike Rush Owns leaves the game, and so does Bart Jones as they tap out, their aggression getting nowhere and their units falling to pieces. A couple of those exchanges going terribly for Bike and Bart. They could have gone so much better, and then Bike's economy, you can see it there, flatlining near the end there. The last, what, minute and a half, basically? He was just absolutely doing nothing in the economy graph. His orcas got basically nothing done. 2 of them dead before they even showed up. And Space and Rex finding the defense, finding the offense there in game number 7. From the peak of the dam to the valley of the mountain, we get sent into game number 8. And once again, we've got ourselves a triple black hand game. Rex and Space choosing to switch it up, go for that black hand here in game number 8. And then joining them is, of course, Bike Rush Owns, playing red, playing black hand. And the only GDI holdout is, of course, Bart Jones. Happy to play GDI again and again. I feel like this is one of those maps that's there's something wrong with the detail level. There's something wrong with the rendering. It should be more clear, and I feel like there's too much something going on with these mini maps. A couple of tib spikes in the corners, and then a couple of tib spikes behind your bases. A bit easier to secure, and tib spikes on the high ground as well that we saw in that opening. Rex and Space dangerously close to evening up the score of the game, hoping desperately that their aggression can find them the win. Okay, no, it's looking normal for Rex. It would be amazing if 2 players were both flame rushing. That would be an insane number of flame tanks potentially to deal with. And no, he didn't go Reckoner, so he just went 1 flame tank, and then he also has the Black Hand squad split off to the side, perhaps to burn down this tib spike, which wasn't ever actually captured, so no real harm there. Meanwhile, the other 3 players looking a little bit more normal, and Bart Jones, perhaps the perfect target because it's another harvester right out of the gate. Many harvesters, and this happened to Bike on Forgotten Forest, and now it's happening to Bart on Mountain Valley. And this flame tech will eventually go down, but not before getting a war factory, not before getting a refinery, and he might even get a barracks and a couple of rocket squads as well. Not gonna go heroic, but at least goes double vet. And when you're Black Hand, well, double vet is kind of easier to achieve. But the aggression has landed. Bart Jones is going to be playing from behind for the next couple of minutes. His economy has never fully grown, and hopefully he's able to pivot out of this. Otherwise, Space has found the perfect opening to go for that damage against Bart Jones to weaken him right at the start of the game and make this a little bit of a 2v1 for our team in the north. Bart Jones, he is going to have to rely on Bike Rush Owns, and Bike Rush Owns is a player who can 1v2, but on this day, he is not going to be able to 1v2 Rex in Space. I shouldn't say that because, you know, he kind of knows what he's up against now. He can kind of play towards that angle if that is what he wants to do. Secret Shrine coming up immediately goes for those Black Disciples. We can always hope that he's going for Purified Flame. But I think in this situation where he's kind of viewing himself in a 1v2, I don't think he's going to be going for Purifying Flame as well. No, unfortunately not. But he at least will have the man spam to be able to put the damage out onto the map. This is, those Scorpions could have stuck around for a little while longer and got a bit more damage, but they were worried about the reinforcements coming in. They were worried about the power of Bike. Bart Jones has had actually lots of time to rebuild, so losing 1 war factory, losing a refinery doesn't feel like that big of a setback. It has pushed him back maybe a minute in the game time, but at the current moment, Space isn't breathing down his throat, so it actually kind of feels like Bart Jones is okay. Well, that Black Hand squad will get spotted. Maybe he gets a rocket squad kill or something. It's Scorps versus Bikes, Rex versus Bike on the north side of the map. A couple of Bikes swinging through the mountain valley. Will not actually find an entrance into Rex's base. That's fantastic for Rex. If he doesn't lose 18 harvesters at the start of the game, he's actually pretty good. It's just those games where he gets dumpstered, where his harvesters get sent to an early grave where he looks useless. And is this just over? This might just be over. Okay, well, Bike is going to fight this one out. He's got an aggressive MCV position. He's got a decent amount of infrastructure behind it as well. That's a lot of Scorpions that are putting a lot of pressure on Bike Rush Owns, and they're going to be able to knock down that Con Yard. The Black Hand squad's added into the mix, and Rex playing that Black Hand went for the Black Disciples as well. The front line falls apart here as Bike Rush Owns' main base runs out of Tiberium, runs out of the good green stuff, and now his natural expansion is all he's got to lean on, but that harvester's dead. That refinery isn't worth anything, and this expansion is about to fall apart as the MCV of Rex is aggressively positioned to shut it down. Bart Jones, on the other hand, has been able to expand, or not expand. He's packed up his MCV. He's had enough time to expand, but he wanted to, I don't know, go aggressive or something else. He needs to just pivot off of his main and go to his natural. He needs money, and he needs it now, but the same could be said for Space, whose main is almost mined out, and the Scorpion tanks, they just keep coming. Bike Rush Owns in full-on defense mode, but against the Dozer Blades of his opponent, what can he do against the rockets of his opponent? What can he do? Bart Jones showing up too little, too late. That's Purifying Flame, baby! You win the game, you get Purifying Flame. It's the name of the game. It is Kane's Wrath, and Kane says Purifying Flame. APCs show up. They've got AP ammo. That was a quick purchase by Bart Jones, but Bike Rush has been defeated. It's a 1v2 that nobody wants because Rex and Space have evened up the score 4-4. One team will gain the momentum in game number 9. Bike and Bart or Rex and Space. It's suddenly neck and neck. And that sends us to Wasteland Circles for game number 9. Everything tied up. Both teams fighting for that match point. One team goes up and one team doesn't move. Will it be the double nod GDI combo in the north of Bike and Bart, or will it be the Scrin GDI combo of Rex and Space in the south? Wasteland Circles is the map. The double tib spike in the corner. Looks like Bike and Rex are going to be the ones to claim those. And then the map gets a little bit funky. You've got this back door, this kind of pocket natural expansion for one player, and then the other player gets this fairly exposed half Tiberium field in the middle of the map. Little teeny tiny field there, and then way off in the corner, a relatively small green Tiberium field. Very modest potential third bases for these players. Bike goes to Nod. Not Black Hand, not Marked of Kane. Plain old Nod. Bart sticks with GDI, which I think is a good choice. And for the first time, we are seeing Scrin. We've got the Stasis Shield now as an option. Phase, Eradicator Hexapod, all of the things that are so fun to play against. And they're all tools in the belt of Rex. Rex goes for the blue right from the beginning. Goes for the blue with the Harvester and sits around for a moment. There we go. Not too much time wasted at all. We'll be able to start harvesting that blue, and for the current moment, looks like he's going to get away with it. Buggy getting sent to the middle of the map. Scouting Buzzer comes in, sees 5 harvesters. Not sure if he actually got the stealth reveal on the 5th one, but he very well may know that it's 5. It's actually a 6th harvester as well. Bike Rush Owns going greedy right at the beginning here. of game number 9. The map score is tied up, and Bike Rush Owns believes that macro is the key to victory, and, well, he's not necessarily wrong. Everyone else is playing a reasonably macro-oriented game as well. A couple of units here or there, but a couple of Seekers and a Gunwalker shouldn't be too much to handle. Buggy showing up. Maybe a couple of Watchtowers will need to be deployed by Bart Jones. That Harvester is taking a lot of damage. That Harvester is taking more damage than you would like to see. But the juking is good. A lot of wasted time on this Harvester. A lot of wasted time for these Seeker tanks. Are they just going to commit for it? They've committed all the way forward, and they're going to be rewarded a load of Tiberium. That Harvester full of hope and possibility now gone from this world, just like all of the Seeker tanks that were sent to attack it. But when you've got 18 Harvesters built in the first 40 seconds of the game, well, losing one isn't the end of the world. Another Harvester goes down, this time on the south side of the map. The APC Pitbull combo finds its damage and also gets sent to an early grave. Both teams attack, both teams kill a Harvester and lose all of the units that were sent for the attack. Rex finds a kill. Bart finds a kill. And now the airfield has been spotted. AP ammo has been spotted as well. Pitbull's coming through. Space going to be able to find a little bit of damage, and he spots the flame tank at the perfect time. He knows that it is headed towards him. He might actually be able to take a couple of shots at that flame tank, force it back for repairs, waste more time, and give him even more time to prepare for it, although the Orcas may also be sent. No, that's Firehawks. We're in for the Firehawks. Orca Strike comes in from Bart Jones on the other side of the map. Scorpion tanks are here from Bike Rush Owns, but they do take a bit of damage there from those pit bulls crossing the map and trying to hunt for kills on Harvesters. Find a kill on a Scorpion tank instead. It might be just as good. Harvester takes a lot of damage. That was a perfectly placed and, accidentally perfectly timed strike there from those Orcas. The Firehawks from space, 3 of them, 4 of them have now been completed. What will his first bombing run be? Into the corner goes he. And they land somewhere. They bomb out a refinery, of all things. Okay. Trying to shut down the frontline economy of Bike Rush Owns, trying to slow down his venom production, apparently, because Bike Rush Owns is going for mass venoms, and he's going to be sending them deep into enemy territory. Behind this, he does have Scorpion tanks. No Bike Buggy for Bike Rush. Instead, it's going to be Scorpions. It's going to be a Redeemer as the follow-up as well. Laser capacitors, I guess it could be EMP coils or Tib core, but I assume it's laser capacitors with the Venoms and the Scorps. We'll see if they all get the upgrade, because in the south, it's going to be the Scorpion tanks pushing forward, and there they have now been upgraded. A nearly perfect timing attack here. Laser capacitors timing out moments before these Scorpions show up, but this is AP ammo, APCs, sonic emitter, and it's a couple of flame tanks as well, getting spotted, getting caught out as the Firehawks come in loaded with anti-air missiles, and the flame tanks get awkwardly pushed away. They were in the corner, and now they're dead and running for the hills. The Scorpion tanks push into the main base. Rex and Space need to deal with this. They don't want to be losing their tier 3 to some random Scorpion tanks, and it'll be the stasis to save the tier 3 to get the lockdown on those Scorps and allow these other units to reposition, and instantly saving his own tier 3. Mastermind teleports in one tripod to be able to get the kill, and, well, the Mastermind may go down and the tier 3 may still fall because these Scorpion tanks are as powerful as ever. One of them does get shut down, but there's the sell-off of the tier 3, and Bike Rush Owns accomplishes his goal and also takes the tier 3 off the board, but also forces the stasis shield to be used on those Scorpions. It cannot be used for another couple of minutes here. I'm not sure what that Firehawk bombing run was all the way across the map. Scorpion or stealth tanks could be finding a couple of kills here. Pit Bulls will be looking to chase down those stealth tanks. Firehawks going down, one and then another. Not a full volley there as that stealth tank gets eliminated. Rex has found his power-up as a Scrin player. 4 grand in the bank, 13 grand per minute, on par with everyone else, but he's got these tripods fully upgraded with those shields, and wow, Space has got a serious army. APC Predator tanks, a couple of Shatterers mixed in as well, and it's going to be a big fight on both sides of the map. Hammerhead trying to push things back, a couple of Scorpion tanks reforming the front line with Bike Rush Owns, and EMPs could be firing off. It's going to be a Rage Generator, but the Force Fire in the corner of the map just in time to save these units from annihilating each other. Shockwave Artillery does not fire off. The Redeemer does not get locked down. And the Marv is here on the front line. The tripods losing their shields, having to escape away. And there is the MCV getting whisked away by the teleport of that Mastermind. And I guess Space says, I don't want to fight this army. He gets EMP'd. A couple of APCs, a couple of Predator tanks get locked down. Bart Jones deploys a sonic emitter right onto the front line and lines up those targets one after another. The stealth tanks get a couple of kills here, and Bike Rush Owns, well, he is going for aggression, but Space says, I'm just going to stab you in the back. Forces the sell-off of the Tier 3, kills everything that he can, but there's not much left after the sell of those buildings. And it looks like Bart Jones is going to be able to take the corner of the map. He doesn't care about expansions. He cares about Tiberium. And that was a huge sonic emitter shot from Bart Jones, eliminating a huge number of units in one fell swoop. If sonic emitters could rank up, that one would have for sure, as the Space Command uplink being targeted down by Space. And the Harvesters will be eliminated as they try to transfer to safety. And 5-6 Harvesters get eliminated in an instant, in a flash, by Rex as he cuts a path through the middle of the map with the laser beams from Space. The avatars are nowhere to be seen. The Juggernauts are not the answer. No mammoths, no nothing from the GDI player. It's just laser beams from Space, and there are the Juggernauts trying to find their marks. There is the avatar marching in from the south, and it's going to be a collapse upon these tripods, but can they actually get the kills that matter? The phase comes in, saves a number of them, and the tripods still looking for targets, looking for those Juggernauts. They find one. Can they find the other? That is since swarming upon the base of Bart, trying to make what he can out of this sandwich. They almost got thrust upon him. Bike and Bart were hoping for the flank, and Bike has forgotten about his MCV, which is getting shot up by 2 measly hammerheads. They almost forgot what they were doing for a second, and they're going to get a kill on an MCV, forgotten and alone in the south of the map. And Bart just gets crushed right here on the front line, and that MCV taking massive damage but surviving. The Mastermind surviving as well, and Bike's attack has been completely turned around. He was forced to head back home and defend Bart Jones. The result is they're playing Ring Around the Rosie, and now Bart is gone. Bike stands alone, a 1v2, as these 2 hammerheads are being annoying, trying to do anything that they can, and Firehawks bombing out power plants. The MCV, the Mar, gets locked down. The EMP will keep it still, and it's going to be the MCV of Rex deploying buildings onto the front line. Buzzers to kill out the infantry hordes of Bike Rush Owns. The Marv goes down. The tripods stand strong against the avatars, and the Buzzer Hive kills everything else. The Redeemer is here on the front line, but it is running for the hills. It is running for its life. For the first time, Rex and Space are looking to take the momentum of this series, have the lead in the score. and get the better of Bike and Bart. The Redeemer goes down. The GG comes out. Bike has been defeated. Rex and Space put 5 on the board. Bike and Bart don't stand a chance there on Wasteland Circles. And that sends us to Tiberium Pantanal for game number 10. What has turned into a very close series between these teams started out as a pretty one-sided stomp for Bike and Bart, spawning as the double GDI in the north. Coming alive in the second half of this series, Rex and Space, playing GDI and Scrin, are looking strong in that game number 9. They're hoping to keep it up. They don't want to go to the ace match versus Bike and Bart. But of course, we want to see the ace match, the maximum number of games. We're so close. We got game number 10. Would have been very disappointing if this was a 6-0. Bike and Bart just smashing Rex and Space. But no! Rex and Space bringing it back. Some aggressive games, some big macro plays, some greedy openings. And for now, things are looking pretty standard. Things are looking pretty normal. It's Bart versus Rex, Bike versus Space. The north and the south split between these two teams. One of those maps where we often see the games go a little bit later and the armies get a little bit bigger, as there's a lot of money on this map, quite a few fields available, and it's also quite easy to get spread out with this 2 blue fields with the fields in the corner as well. You can get spaced out, you can get spread out, and you can have 2 separate giant armies that are just very far away from each other. For now, Bike opening very normally. Powers down his war factory, actually. No, actually, he's opening a little bit thin. No, he's opening greedy. I just assumed because there was a barracks, because there was an APC, that he was going for his normal, like, 3 APC, couple of pit bulls thing. But, actually, that was pretty darn greedy. He's going almost nothing. He's got a harvester, he's got a refinery, and he has built so many harvesters. There's 5 right there, 6, 7, and I think an 8th one at the blue Tiberium, all basically in 3 minutes flat. A crazy number of harvesters and almost nothing else. He does have the barracks. He can queue up a Guardian cannon, but it goes another refinery. He has gone maximum greed mode. And I know there was a build that you could go for that was basically you just didn't worry about early game attacks and you just built more harvesters and you could generally survive because you would have such a crazy harvester number that even if you lost like 2 of them at the start of the game, you would still have more harvesters than your opponent, and you would pretty quickly be able to overwhelm their forces. But it doesn't always work. It doesn't always work, and Bike goes for the command post. Finally gonna start beefing up his army, switching it up into Predator tanks. Should be getting... oh, no, he goes airfield. I was gonna say second war factory, but nope, he's going airfield as Bike owns his economy jumps 2k ahead per minute of everyone else in this game. Rex is looking for not the earliest game aggression. I mean, it's 5 gunwalkers at 4.5 minutes. It's not a big aggressive early game cheese or anything like that. Just a bit of pressure coming out from this Scrin player. Harvester does get tagged. Tier 3 will also get tagged by Bart Jones, though, as Bike Jones and Bart both send their Orca Strikes to the Scrin player. Not sure if they coordinated that or not, but maybe if they had timed it up a little bit better on the Harvester, they could have actually gotten the kill. Bike Jones does send out an outpost, will draw the attention of an Orca Strike from space. We'll see if it actually kills off that outpost, and it does. The Orca Strike gets the kill right as Bike would have finished it up as well. And, well, I guess you just have to expand with your MCV the old-fashioned way. But he does have 2-base economy. He is well set up to go into the late game. And the late game is upon us as tripods stomp their way out onto the field. Predator tanks are here for space. He's going to be able to eat up a couple of Bike's units as they walk haphazardly towards Space's base. Reclamator Hub is now out for both of the GDI players in the north, but also for Bart Jones as well. Firehawks heading out. All right, Mammoth tanks are here as well. Orca Strike comes in, tags 2 Harvesters, gets lucky with that splash damage as this Avatar has just walked his way. And, okay, he's going to swap out his load. He's going to swap out for possibly anti-air missiles if he's hoping to defend against his opponent's Firehawks. Bike Rush owns suspecting Space has Firehawks, and indeed he does. Stasis locks down a couple of these Predator tanks. Doesn't actually deny anything more than that, but it does allow these tripods to find a bit more damage against these Harvesters. Bart Jones is going to be losing a couple of, well, he's going to lose one refinery. He gets the kill on the Mastermind, though. He's going to be losing the refinery and maybe a Harvester or 2, but it's going to be railguns showing up from space. Where did this Predator tank army come from? As he slaughters Bike Rush's Predator tanks, and he's going to be able to find a couple of Harvesters as well. Firehawks come in, they Stratofighter over, and they clear out a couple of Hammerheads, but the Predator tanks will all go down. The Zone Raiders find their marks on the ground and knock down those tanks that Space sent over. Gunwalker finally goes down. The Tripod Husk remains there on the front line. MCV getting targeted. Bike Rush owns will find an angle to do some damage, but can he actually get the kill? Juggernauts are here. Shockwave Artillery is going to be able to lock down the MCV, lock down the Marv as well, but the firepower just isn't there to actually get the kill on the MCV. And this one Mammoth tank is going ham, killing 2 Juggernauts and saving the MCV at least for now, allowing him to get out a couple of more buildings right onto the front line. It's going to be Zone Troopers jump jetting away from the buzzers as they get sent to the front line, and the Watchtower immediately annihilates the Zone Troopers that get produced by Bike Rush. Onto the front line they go, and they immediately die as they can just fall apart. Space gets his Marv teleported away by the Mastermind, and Bart Jones finds the MCV unprotected of Rex in the corner of the map, and the MCV of Bike is going to get knocked down. The reverse Uno card plays once again as Bike calls in the Orca Strike too little too late. The Mastermind calls in an Annihilator Tripod to help out. The Hammerheads show up, but right as the Plasma Missile Battery gets the kill on 2 of them and chases away the rest, the MCV standing strong for now, but Bart Jones has brought his Juggernauts, he's brought his MCV, all of it into the corner of the map. Zone Troopers as well, unupgraded Predator tanks are also here, and that's a fully heroic Rifleman squad that gets cut down by the Buzzer Hive, and the Zone Troopers once again forced to jump jet away from the Buzzers. The Annihilator Tripods may not be fast enough to save the MCV, but they will be here to kill off all of the ground units of Bart Jones, but maybe not that Marv, as Space takes up a strong frontline position against Bike Rush in the north. Firehawks coming in, not bombing out that War Factory. It'll be up to the Orca Strike to get the kill on that War Factory. And it's going to be up to these Annihilator Tripods to get the kill on Bart Jones's base in the south. The Gunwalker clears out that... No, the War Factory survives. Clears out that Hammerhead, and the Tripods don't even worry about the base in the corner for Bart Jones. Space pushes forward an absolutely massive number of Juggernauts, an MCV that's half health or so, and he kills the War Factory. The Tier 3 is in sight. Bike Rush owns His greed has outplayed him, and he doesn't have any units left on the front line. He's staring down 47 units of space, many of them juggernauts, as they are annihilating everything that Bike has right from the opposite side of the screen. You can never stop those juggernauts once they get too close. And the GG comes out as Rex and Space find the win in game number 10. They get the kill on Bike and Bart, and they find the eventual victory of this show match. Big thanks to Shanks for sponsoring this show match. I forgot to mention that at the top of the video, but thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and a congratulations to Rex and Space for the win. Thank you all very much for watching, and this is Sybert signing out.